Hello and welcome back, my fairies. I am Matsurific, and we are back with Hello and welcome back, my fairies. I am Matsurific, and we are back with another episode of Miraculous Tales of Ladybug and Cat Noir. This is episode 6. And yes, I know we haven't watched episode 5 yet, but that is because episode 5 is not out yet. For some reason, TF1 has decided that they want to skip episode 5 and go straight to episode 6. So we are not going to get episode 5 until we see episode 8. And unfortunately, that means that we do have to skip that for a while, because if I don't skip it now, we are going to have a lot of spoilers before we get episode 5, because episode 5 won't be out until November 2nd. And that's going to be really annoying. So we're just going to go ahead and skip episode 5, move on to episode 6, and yeah, we're going to have to go ahead and do this. But I have to admit, I am really looking forward to this episode, because this is the museum episode. This is the episode where we get Luca and Kagami, and they're going to the museum with Marinette and Adrian, and it looks like Kagami and Luca are actually trying to hook the two up, which is also interesting, because I'm kind of hoping that this will be the Luca-Gami episode too. There are a lot of people that ship them together, and I do think that it would be really nice if the two characters who are intended to fake you out and make you think that the two main characters are not going to get together, I think it would be interesting if they got together. Plus, you know, Kagami does have her art, so with Kagami being an artist and Luca being a musician, they've got that whole artist thing going together, so they would have that in common at the very least. So yeah, and they're both very quiet and reserved, so I could see them getting along pretty well. So this might be the actual Luca-Gami episode, which makes that canon. And also, since we did just have episode 4, where we got the whole thing with Jubilation, where we get to see that Ladybug actually does have feelings for Cat Noir, and she actually does want to have this future with him, that would also be interesting to see, because, well, not really interesting. We are seeing that, and, you know, a lot of people are theorizing that this is going to be the reverse Love Square season, and it does actually seem like she is falling for him, because she seemed just as disappointed as he was that everything was fake. So this might very well be the episode where Marinette gets to finally realize that she does have feelings for Cat Noir. She was even saying that in episode 3. Episode 2. No, I absolutely cannot fall for Cat Noir. That is the number one rule. Aside from my identity can't be revealed to anybody. And it's like, you usually only say that when you know that you're starting to fall in love with somebody. And as far as the B plot of this episode for the akumatization, we know that the museum curator is going to get akumatized this episode, and it's got something to do with Chloe and Andre. So my theory is that Chloe, being bitter that she's no longer allowed to be a superhero anymore, is going to tell her father that he needs to close down the superhero exhibit once and for all, and then he actually gives in because, you know, he has to please his daughter. So he goes to the museum and tells her that this exhibit is being closed down, and that's going to cause her to get akumatized. Those are my theories. So I'm going to go ahead and get into the episode, and we'll get back to the review. Okay, well, I just got done watching the episode, and I guess most of my theories were correct. Andre was shutting down the Hero Museum, and it was because of Chloe. He had this whole fake excuse of, oh, well, seeing these after Ladybug made that mistake is like, oh, yeah, you know, this is gonna make Parisians all upset. And my daughter, I mean, Parisians are gonna be all upset because of the defeat, and it's a reminder of Ladybug and Cat Noir's defeat. It's like, Yeah. He let it slip that it's because of Chloe and not anything else. It was just Chloe. So, yeah. My theory about that was right. It was because of Chloe, and that was the whole reason why she got akumatized. I thought it was really cool, really sweet though, how she's like, yeah, I want this exhibit to give hope to the people of Paris, so that there will be less reasons for people to get akumatized, because they'll have these reminders that we still have hope. It's like, yeah, that's great. I liked that. I liked her reasoning. It was very sweet. And but then we get to the A plot, and we got this whole thing with so it starts off with Marinette is dropping off Kagami, like we saw in the original trailer, and we see Adrian looking at Marinette with the bubble background and everything. And keep that in mind, because that does come into play later. We get to see him looking at Marinette with the bubble background, and he's looking at her all lovingly, and Kagami sees that, and she realizes that, oh my gosh, Adrian is finally coming to terms with his feelings for Marinette, and he's finally recognizing it. He's finally actually falling for Marinette. So she talks to him while they're getting ready for fencing class, and he's actually looking at some of the watercolor paintings that she's done, which I'm glad that she's able to share that with someone other than Adrian, the fact that she does like to draw. And I think it makes a lot of sense that she would talk to Marinette. Next to Adrian, Marinette is her closest friend, and also she knows that Marinette is an artist, and Marinette also likes to draw. So it makes a lot of sense that she would talk to Marinette about it and share her love of art with her. That's something they have in common. So Adrian is staring at this watercolor painting that Kagami did of Marinette, and he's staring all lovingly at it, and it's like, and Kagami is like, "You've fallen for Marinette, haven't you?" And Adrian is still kind of in denial about being in love with Marinette, but Kagami's like, "You look at her the way I wish you looked at me when we were together." And that's sort of part of his little wake-up call that, you know, maybe there is something there between him and Marinette, and Kagami tells him to ask her out. We switch over to Marinette, who is with Kitty Section, and she just made all these stickers of their masks and everything. So it's like, oh yeah, these are like their logos and stuff, and apparently they're getting ready to meet with Bob Roth to have for some sort of contract signing, which is interesting. You know, good for them. And they're getting ready for that. So, and that's when she gets a call from Adrian, because, you know, Kagami took Adrian's phone and is like, pulls up her number and hands it to Adrian, like, call Marinette, ask her out. So she gets that call, she freaks out, and everyone else is watching her, like, all expectantly, like, oh, it's Adrian calling Marinette. Maybe he's calling to ask her out or something. And turns out that's exactly what it is. He tells her that he's had some change in his feelings lately, and he's not really sure what exactly is going on, so he wants to meet at the museum so they can talk things through. And the reason he chooses the museum is because that's where they had that really cringy moment. Yeah, my smiling avatar doesn't really express my facial expressions, and I can't reach the keyboard right now because there's a cat on my lap. But yeah, that's where they had that really cringy moment where she almost kissed him, and Adrian actually saw that as a kiss, and Marinette is like, "Oh no, we were like this close to each other, but we didn't actually kiss. It wasn't technically a kiss." She's all embarrassed and stuff about that and freaking out. And then Luca and Kagami are also there. Kagami is there because she doesn't trust that Adrian is going to see this through properly, and also that and Luca is there at Marinette's request because she doesn't want to be here alone with Adrian, because she's starting to fall out of love with him, or at least she's trying to force herself into that because of the whole thing with Felix and all that. So Kagami and Luca are constantly trying to leave Adrian and Marinette alone together so that Adrian can talk to Marinette and finally come to terms with his feelings. And Marinette is not letting them leave. Every time she sees them running off, she's like, "Oh no, Luca, come back! Come back! Please stay here! Please stay! Please stay! I can't do this alone!" Which is upsetting to Adrian because he's thinking that maybe Marinette is still in love with Luca and they might be together, and Kagami points out what you're experiencing is jealousy. And he's still not quite convinced, but he's like, okay, well, maybe you have a point. And so, he does feel sad seeing Marinette constantly going to Luca. So Kagami and Luca decide that they're going to lock the two of them together in the hero room so that they have to talk. Marinette has nowhere to go because she's trying to get away from Adrian and not be alone with him, but they're like, no, we need to get these two together to talk, and we need to get this to happen. So they get them locked together in the room, and unfortunately, this is where the curator, I can't remember her name, but this is where she gets akumatized into Manipulator, and Monarch gives her the power of the Minotaur, so that of the Ox, so that she can reflect any superpower. Not reflect, but so that she's not damaged by any superpower. Which they do utilize very, very well, but we'll get to that when we get to it. So she bursts into the hero room and creates an opening, so Marinette's like, look, an opening, let's get out of here! So she goes off to transform. Adrian stays there because he knows that once the villain leaves, he can transform safely. So they both transform and go up to the roofs to deal with Manipulator, and she's got an illusion set up that makes it look like she's got them surrounded with all of the hero statues nearby, but it's actually a trap, and she's got Vulpina and Vesperia, the statues, trying to ambush them from the back, and when she realizes that plan failed, she runs away. And then they destroy the Vulpina and Viperian, or not Viperian, the Vulpina and Vesperia statues, and destroy the little cards that she put on their foreheads to bring them to life. And that's what I saw in the trailer. I thought those were cameras, but they're just cards. Kind of like how in Season 4 in Monster Fu put those Ufadas on his forehead to give himself strength and stuff. So that's oh, that's my alarm going off. So it's kind of like that. It works the same way, and it brings the statues to life. And she destroys those too, but she's not able to get a full Akuma out of it. And so she realizes that they have to destroy all of the cards on all of the statues in order to de-akumatize her. So they follow her to the, I forget where it's called, the mayor's office, and they follow her there. She's currently threatening Andre to make him reopen the exhibit, and it's, we get further confirmation that this is because of Chloe and not because of anything he wanted to do. And then Ladybug and Cat Noir appear. They deal with, after they've taken care of all the other statues, they go there and they fight the Ladybug and Cat Noir statues. And Cat Noir is able to easily disperse with the Ladybug statue, but Ladybug is having trouble with the Cat Noir statue because they actually can talk, and the Cat Noir statue is basically like, you wouldn't hurt me, would you, m'lady? It's me! It's Cat Noir! And she hesitates because she's been developing feelings for him. And Cat Noir reminds her, no, that's not me, I'm the real me, and I wouldn't want you to give yourself up like this, I wouldn't do this to you. And helps her to defeat his statue. And that's when he goes to help her up, and she sees him with the same bubble background that Adrian saw Marinette with at the start of the episode, further confirming that we are indeed getting the reverse love square. She has fallen in love with Cat Noir. So, he gives her strength. She's still doubting herself because this whole thing is all about how she lost the miraculous, because that's how Monarch was able to akumatize the curator, is by Ladybug and Cat Noir, Ladybug lost the miraculous, so she's not a hero anymore, but if you let me akumatize you, and if you bring me their miraculous, I promise to never akumatize anyone again, and you'll be able to save Paris. And that's been causing doubts for Ladybug, because she's like, yeah, well, there's a point here, because I did lose the miraculous. And Cat Noir's trying to remind her that, well, we all make mistakes, but, we still gotta do this. And they go to fight her, and the last few statues that are there, and the statue of Minotauro manages to capture. Oh no! Well, first, Cat Noir goes and attacks the curator, and he's got his cataclysm activated, because I guess he's going for her glasses, even though they've confirmed where the Akuma is, which was odd. But she catches his arm. Well, that made my avatar go kind of crazy. But she catches his arm, and she forces him to cataclysm her on the chest, and he's like, are you crazy? But that's when he realizes that she's got the Ox's power, and she doesn't actually get hurt from it, and they're like, oh, that's not good. Now Cat Noir's cataclysm has been wasted, and he's going to transform back soon. So she passes him off to the statue Minotauro, who's trying to get his ring, and he's doing everything he can to protect it, and then she manages to catch Ladybug, who's still doubting herself, especially after hearing Chloe talk about how, she lost the miraculous, and she's utterly useless, and if she had just kept Chloe around as Queen Bee, none of this would have happened, causing Ladybug more doubt. But then she gets captured by Manipulator, and also before this she got I want to talk about her lucky charm, because I was talking about this in my live stream or two for Rise of the Sphinx. Her lucky charm is a bowling ball. And I was talking about this in Rise of the Sphinx because in Rise of the Sphinx we see her get a mirror for the third time in the series. This was the third time she's gotten a mirror as a lucky charm. This is the third time that the lucky charm has been a mirror. The second time she's gotten it, but she got a mirror when they were fighting Pixelator, and then Mr. Bug got a mirror when they were fighting Reflectall. So that was the third mirror that they got in the Clonica in the Clonica battle. And this time she gets a bowling ball. The reason I bring that up is because she got a bowling ball during the Soundwave fight. So this is technically the second time she's got a bowling ball, because that game is canon. And it's like, are they actually running out of ideas for Lucky Charms? It's like, I've always admired how they're able to come up with a unique Lucky Charm each time. No, this time it actually was the same Lucky Charm that we've had before, and it's like, that's interesting. We have had other unique Lucky Charms this season as well, so I'm not here to criticize the show of, they're running out of ideas. But, yeah. I just found that interesting that she got a bowling ball, and I wanted to talk about that. But anyways, she gets captured, and she's trying to protect her earrings, and that's when Cat Noir comes along and is like, Ladybug, your true power has never been your Lucky Charms. It's been the ability to figure out what to do with the Lucky Charms. And he gives her the strength that she needs to finally figure out what it is that she needs to do. So she kicks the bowling ball into a bookcase, causes it to fall over on the chandelier to fall on top of Manipulator, so that she can actually take her out and rip up the rest of the advertisements. That's where the Akumas are at, so she can de-akumatize her. And once again, it's Cat Noir showing off his his true power. His true power has never been his cataclysm. It's been his support of Ladybug and giving her the strength that she needs to do what needs to be done. And that's always been his true strength. It's like, he just reminded Ladybug of her true strength, and so I have to remind you guys of what his true strength, because he doesn't get enough love with the show. But I really do like how they utilized Cat Noir in this episode. This was very good Cat Noir writing. So they managed to defeat her, and Ladybug convinces Andre to keep the hero exhibit open despite what Chloe is saying. And he's like, yeah, okay, fair enough. We'll keep the exhibit open to give hope to the people of Paris. And Chloe is, of course, upset, but hey, who cares? So yeah, then we get back to the museum, and Adrian covers for himself by, like, you know, he sees Luca and Kagami, so he comes out and is, like, searching for Marinette, and that's when Luca and Kagami see him. And then Marinette covers herself by, like, being like, oh, is it finally over? Like, she's coming out of hiding, like she's been hiding this entire time. Luca knows better, but obviously he can't say anything. Plus, him even have some sort of visual acknowledgement would also, it's not really important. So if anyone's upset about him not having any sort of visual acknowledgement, confirming that, you know, reminding the audience that he knows their identities, it's not needed. It's really not. So they managed to get Adrian and Marinette alone together, and Adrian is able to talk to Marinette finally, and she is still thinking about Cat Noir, and when Adrian doesn't actually get to confess to her, unfortunately, but he does tell her about how, you know, things have been changing, and he finally is starting to realize exactly how he feels. And even though he doesn't fully confess to Marinette, he does get to confess to Kagami that he is in love with Marinette. And when Marinette leaves the museum, oh my gosh, like, this is actually, I really like how they did this, actually. So she walks out of the museum, and it's starting to rain, and she looks at this poster of Cat Noir, and it really hits her that she's fallen in love with him. But going back to what she said before about how she's not allowed to fall in love with Cat Noir, it hits her really hard because she's treating it like a bad thing. Like, she's fallen in love with Cat Noir, but her being in love has caused problems in the past, and she's worried about her feelings for Cat Noir causing trouble as Ladybug, because she doesn't want that to distract her from their upcoming fights. And we have seen in Catwalker that her having feelings for her cat partner can distract her. So that is absolutely something that could happen coming up in further episodes of the series, of her being distracted by her feelings for Cat Noir and everything. And we do actually get a scene a little bit before that of she talks with Cat Noir, and she is about to have the same conversation with him that Adrian's been trying to have with her, where she tries to tell him that her feelings have changed, and he kind of doesn't really let her finish. And he's like, I know what you mean. You know, you've helped me to realize my feelings as well, and he's like, speaking of which, I gotta go, because he's basically saying, yeah, without actually saying anything, he's basically saying that he has finally gotten over Ladybug and is now realized how he feels for Marinette, and he's gonna go and try to talk to her, which leaves Ladybug behind, and I think that's when it really starts to hit her that she's fallen in love with him. But she doesn't actually have her breakdown till the very end of the episode. And I think that I honestly really do think that they're handling this very well. It's a bit of a slow burn, but you know, it took us 6 episodes to get to this point, but I do feel like each of those episodes was important. Like, yeah, we don't really get much of that in the first episode, Evolution, but that was also the the direct aftermath of what happened, but once episode 2 starts and we start to see Adrian starting to fall for Marinette, I do like that it still takes a while for him to actually realize what these feelings are, and it still required a push from Kagami. But I do like her involvement in that. You know, she's like, yeah, it's like, yes, we used to be together, and I did have feelings for you, but I'm over it, and now I just want you and Marinette to be happy together because I care about you both. And when you have situations like this, where you've got one character who's just absolutely clueless about their feelings for another, and this is actually a very common trope, especially in anime. In fact, we had this in my favorite series, Cardcaptor Sakura, where Shaoran was very clueless about his feelings for Sakura for a while, even with with people, you know, constantly hinting at it and trying to get him to realize that he had feelings for her. And then he wasn't even open about it until Tomoyo finally confronted him about it, and it's like, listen, I know you've got feelings for Sakura, you should really try to talk to her. And in this situation, Kagami is kind of like Adrian's Tomoyo, where she's telling him that, you know, you need to, you know, I know you have feelings for Marinette. It's pretty obvious at this point that you're starting to figure it out too. You need to talk to Marinette. So, you know, I really like her involvement in that. And then, of course, Luca is Marinette's Tomoyo, basically, you know, trying to encourage her to you know, give her strength, being her wingman and all that, and helping her to realize all that. So, you know, well, not really realize anything, but helping her to push her a bit forward. So I guess, really, if anything, Luca is more like her Meilin, or, oh my gosh, Meilin. I'm getting confused because there's also a character in the show called Milen. So she's kind of like Marinette's Meilin at that point, because Meilin was always the one to push super hard. Like, no, Sakura-chan, you, Kinomoto-san, you need to talk to Shaoran. You need to go do that now. So I'm sorry, I love Cardcaptor Sakura so much, I can't help but make that comparison. But yeah, I really like their involvement in it. I am kind of sad that there's no, like, Lukagami stuff. But at the same time, this episode was focused on acknowledging and actually finishing the setup for the reverse love square. So yeah, that's going to be interesting, especially because we know that Adrian has no issue telling the person he loves that he loves them. Unlike Marinette, who does have trouble with that. And at this point, she's not going to just go straight up to Cat Noir and tell him, look, I'm in love with you, or even anything close to that, because she is afraid of what's going to happen if they get together. And I kind of wish that they would also acknowledge Cat Blanc again. I'm kind of hoping that episode 7 starts off with her having another nightmare with Chat Blanc, because I think that would be kind of interesting as, like, another reason why she can't allow herself to fall in love with Cat Noir, because she remembers Cat Blanc. And that was the whole thing with Cat Blanc, was that, you know, he even told her that they were together and that things were perfect until Hawkmoth found out, and all of this happened because they were together and he knew her identity. So I am hoping that we'll get a bit more acknowledgement of Cat Blanc, so that we can actually see her thinking about that, and about how the fact that this could actually be a problem with her falling in love with Cat Noir. And so yeah, that'll be interesting. But I think this video's already gotten about as long as it needs to be. So I'm gonna go ahead and end this here, because I've got to finish editing and get this uploaded before I start work. I actually don't think I'm going to be able to get this up in time, because it's currently 12:34 and I start work at 1. So I'll probably get this uploaded during my break. So, I mean, by the time you're seeing this, you've already seen it. So, yeah, hopefully I could get that up for you guys sometime today as of recording this. So, yeah, I'll go ahead and stop rambling and end this here. Thank you guys for watching. If you enjoyed this video, then be sure to leave a like, comment down below, and subscribe for more videos from me. We do all sorts of fun stuff on this channel, including playing video games, we do art, and I'll sometimes talk about cartoons and anime. So if you enjoy that stuff, then be sure to ring that bell icon to never miss a video. Thank you guys for watching, and as always, I hope you all have a very magical day.